This boy and girl are going to be well equipped when the time comes to take their places as worthy members of adult society.
Aloha, y'all. This is Daniel Eisenman, the host of the Breaking Normal podcast, where my guests are all invited based on the frequency of synchronicity, all done in person, and all trailblazers in the breaking of all things normal. All right, Trent, welcome back to the Breaking Normal podcast. We've brought two of your allies, business partners, acquaintances, best friends. I'm not sure. I know all three of these guys, and I know that the other three that have started the amazing company known as Ember and Ice.
Yes, sir.
That is it.
Very cool.
Cool. Yes. Awesome. I'm really excited to talk about it. I really think that's like a super breaking normal startup that's so aligned with my life, so much so that one of your locations is about 2 blocks from me, right next to my favorite part of the creek.
Mm-hmm.
And as people listening to this show from a long time ago know, I used to host health retreats like every quarter for like 11 years. And we aim to go to the best places in the world, the best times to be there, to design the strongest tribe as fast as possible. They had a few different names, but the International Tribe Design was that last iteration of that. And since living in Boulder, and since we were just talking about that C word that came from a lab and caused a whole eruption in our society, I have stopped doing retreats since then and focused on tribe vitamins. By the way, I have more of these balms. We can talk about that. I want to know your experience of using those after the sauna sessions.
Totally.
But I had done 2 meetups in Boulder since I've lived here, like a Breaking Normal meetup, like men eating animals together. We had antelope burgers, and it was awesome. And then I think that's when Travis and Ryan like started Move Chiropractic or something. It was like a lot of stuff happened from that. And then I had a Breaking Normal meetup where we drank mead from one of my alchemists that I work with, Warren G.
Love it.
And then I did like a little soft little invite to a few people about a Breaking Normal heat up at the sauna on Sunday at 1 p.m. And y'all all 3 were there.
Yep. Divine timing for sure.
And it was a beautiful day.
Oh yeah.
That it was.
And one of my endeavors I did along the way of the retreat decade was I created an app game called the Breaking Normal app. And maybe if someone still has their old phone, they could still play it. It was pretty amazing. But it was all about getting people to speak from their heart in the most coherent way. It was like a practice to speak from your heart in the most coherent way, almost like blacking out. You just like let it come through you in 30 seconds or less. And I know a lot of people would think it might be challenging to have a podcast with 4 people, but because of that experience of me doing that, we can maybe play a version of that without the actual app.
Sure.
And maybe I'll start by asking y'all a few questions because these are 3 of the founders of Ember and Ice, emberandice.com.
Right.
Devin.
That's right.
Ricky, and Trent. I'm happy y'all are here.
We're grateful to be here.
Happy to be here, dude.
Well, last time I talked to Trent about it, he was describing you almost as like the mitochondria of the cell of Ember and Ice. And I know your brother's been on the Breaking Normal podcast, Dylan, who's another co-owner partner in this company. But he really described you as the engine.
Rabbit.
This is fairly accurate, right? Yeah, it's a rabbit. So why do you think Trent looks at you that way? And what are you doing with this business? If you can try to pour it out in 30 seconds to a minute, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. So for a while now, a group of us, including Trent, have been talking about this idea of coming together as men and starting a business and trying to figure something cool, creative, and something that's going to be long lasting and have an impact for our community and for the greater community at large. And when we had that trip together in Seattle where we had the seed get planted for Ember and Ice, that time I would say it's just been a God ordained thing. Like I've been feeling downloads from God about this business and the vision and what it can do. And that has been firing me up every single day. I literally wake up random times in the middle of the night with awesome dreams and cool ideas that come from these dreams. And so I think that really is what gets me going, is just that the dream aspect of it and the vision of it. And I'm also grateful where I'm at with my life and the support that I have from my lover, Taylor, that she's 100% fanning my flames and just wants to see me grow. And I love it. So I think that's probably the biggest thing is the God factor embedded in the whole thing and all the synchronicities that have taken place to lead us up to this current moment. And it's really, really special. So I'm naturally too, I have like high energy. So, bringing it into the business now is just a kind of a natural flow.
Awesome. All right, a few questions.
Mm.
Are you the older or younger brother?
That's a question that gets asked relatively often.
Okay.
People don't know. They think Dylan's the older brother in most cases, but I'm actually older. But we're close.
How many years?
Year and a half.
Because y'all, when I'm with my brothers, a lot of times people ask us if we're twins.
Mm-hmm.
But when you and Dylan are together, sometimes I wouldn't know you were brothers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you were like taller, much more dark skin.
Yeah.
How is your skin so much darker than Dylan's?
So the joke we have going,
Here we go.
we're half Mexican and half white. And so what we say is with my mom, she was pregnant, when I was in her stomach, I was in there a little longer. So I got more toasty in the oven. Is kind of what we say. And Dylan came out a little bit early. And generally speaking, I've heard people say that in mixed breeds from like half black, half white, half Mexican, half white, that usually the firstborn might take some more of the pigmentation. But I don't know if that's 100% accurate or not. And so I don't know. That's kind of the story. Also, we might have different dads. I don't fully know. I mean, I'm pretty sure
I've met at least one of your dads.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Mhm.
All right, so Ricky, can you tell me how Ricky shines in this company and who he is, and then I'll ask him a few questions.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Ricky really brings an approach that is really unique. He has the ability to think very big, so he's got a large vision, but he also has this component to him of like being meticulous in the most beautiful way. So he loves the idea of understanding what we're trying to bring to the world and curating that experience for people, from like what we look like on the marketing side of things, what things look like for the experience for people, from setup to operations, marketing. I feel like Ricky definitely shines in those regards, and he's just such a humble, loving guy, and just wants to be in the sauna too. He's kind of our sauna master. He'll a lot of the times be in the sauna with people just to elevate the experience even more. So he's absolutely a vital brother in that way. Absolutely.
Thanks, my man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you were in the sauna with me a few times.
Right.
And also, you were also outside, like in the best parking lot in Boulder, for like
Arguably.
the ideal demographic traffic, with your shirt off.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, there.
With this beautiful look you have going on, and you and Trent, everyone in this business seems to be thriving health wise, and other ways as well. But you're super ripped.
Thanks, dog.
Me
and Trent both there. Yeah.
I mean, it's genius. The whole thing, like you just y'all standing out there shirtless, and there's like this bubble sauna right next to this cold, deep creek on a super sunny day out of nowhere.
Yeah. You missed me and Trent doing a workout circuit in the morning, just getting people ready for the session, So.
I think we could. I would love for y'all to make that even more of a part of it. Especially, I told you I had a kettlebell. If you had like a variety of kettlebells going from like 30 to 100 pounds, that would be really cool. So, anyways,
Right.
How are you so ripped? and in my understanding, you're very much into astrology.
Yeah, man.
Because you just said it was like a God factor, and maybe God and astrology are the same things for y'all, or maybe they're different.
Sure.
But I'm just a little curious about, are your visions of God, like the God factor for this, similar to Devin's? And how are you so ripped?
Love it. Love the questions, bro. So I want to give a lot of air to our business and to our colleagues here, but I have a huge story in Genesis of me with astrology and my relationship to God. So I will say, like, I connect with Jesus Christ and so many other deities. I'm also huge into meditation. So I have a different kind of spiritual opinion than other people, but I want to make this clear. It makes me deeply connected to personal development and being my best self. I have a relationship with God relatively every hour. And so when I connect with everyone's being, kind of knowing people's signs, it gives me an air of like, this is the dharma of this person. How can they bring their skill sets to the sphere? How can I also know more about myself so I can connect to the sphere? So I'm a huge people person, man. I think one of my biggest skills I stumbled upon with this is to go deep with people. So I'm just such a huge one-on-one story mode person. And for me, it really generates in the business, really having kind of the the human experience. I really want people to feel kind of, if you will, nurtured, supported, kind of brought into the sphere where they can be their best selves. And I think me and Devin have a history of working in communion with people, kind of personal development and getting people of its emotional intelligence to also just breaking through blockages for someone to be their best selves. It kind of coincides with the spiritual factor. So
let me say one thing about that.
Please.
Because I think, I've been in a variety of sauna businesses around the world. And when I saw you in Forest, I believe, coaching the
ice baths.
The ice baths.
Yeah.
That ice bath immersion. And I think I've even seen y'all helping people get in the creek.
Of course.
Which is definitely my style. But even that coaching aspect, that emotional intelligence to guide someone through that experience is definitely a huge asset to your business, y'all's business.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for acknowledging that.
It's amazing, and it's beyond business, but it'll really work for the business side. Since we're going to be talking a little bit about that as well. But please go ahead.
And yeah, Daniel, I guess there's not really something we've measured. I can't tell you I've sat there and numbered everyone we've coached, but it's really cool to have someone I'm not getting in the ice bath. People that are totally foreign to this kind of health and wellness is their first time coming in, and to have them move from never done an ice bath to coaching them to 5 minutes and now be in love with not only just the business but for their own optimization. I can say that me and Forrest, that has been very fulfilling in just being this business. And so that's a cut of the cake of my slice that I really love. Hey, this customer's not just happy, they're building inside the culture, and our culture and the brand is helping people rise up to be their best selves, and it's also coincided with my own personal brand. So I appreciate the question. To answer it, why I'm so ripped, I guess. I don't know, just 4 days, 5 days a week, just, I eat extremely regimented, man. I'm just fully Greek yogurt, steak, smoothie, supplements, the 3 S's, steak, smoothie, supplements, man. So,
Greek yogurt.
And Greek,
what's the brand?
Skier yogurt. I drink that stuff. Well, it's just 17 grams of protein, 0 fat, man. So, I mean.
Do you have a preferred brand?
Siggy's, and then actually Twin Sisters, but that's it's bougie. It's good stuff.
Oh, speaking of Twin Sisters,
I swear it's the best stuff though. Yeah,
that's a synchronicity, which is the schedule of this podcast. I knew I had this for a reason. The Twin Sisters that were on the show prior to this, they have a big package of supplements here that I owe them.
Oh, really?
And they're on 21st Street between the Rayback Collective. And could I give this to you to give it to them?
Of course, yeah.
Jessica and Jill, shout out for your package there. And so skier supplements, steak. Is that what you said?
I mean, I'm kind of having steak 7 days a week. I've gone through many different diets, and I want to say that me and Devin have been partnershiped in a longevity and nutrition business. So I would say since 24 years old, I've just been in the biohacking nerd sphere of all that stuff. So what can I optimize? I guess the third thing also is I'm really big into intermittent fasting.
Okay.
People don't know this, but kind of coincided with the spiritual element. I did fast for Ramadan. If you guys don't know Ramadan, and not that I'm Muslim or anything like that, but it was to connect with the culture. You don't eat food, drink water, smoke, or have sex while the sun is in the air. So if it's 7:30 when the sun's in the air till sundown.
No water?
No water. I didn't know that till the day before.
What was the other one you said?
Smoking.
Smoking and food.
Yeah, and please, if there's a veteran Muslim that likes to jump on this podcast and correct me, please do so. But I really, by the way, that was one of the most spiritual times of my life, because you realize we lived in Texas, and H-E-B is the grocery store chain. You can eat like a king in that rush in the grocery store, from wine, empanadas, mangoes, whatever. And that was the day I started the fast. So I just share this as some child doesn't have water in Yemen or something like that. I can totally love and be appreciative of what I have and let go. I just want to say that broke me through this intermittent fasting cycle. So I share that for someone that's scared of intermittent fasting. I never thought I could break through that. You will activate certain forms of ketosis in there. And so if you've ever done a 36-hour fast, a day and a half or something, I would just say that's where I was whoa, you can feel the chain on burning fat and optimizing your mind. So just getting hooked in those fields and then optimizing it with protein. I mean, I'm not a nutrition coach, but I just follow that pretty religiously, I guess. So
you walk the talk. And it shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember I've interviewed Paul Chek. Someone could look up this interview. Do y'all know Paul Chek?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. He was hilarious. He was starting to get real revved up with my brothers and I. And he was just talking about like, yeah, when I go to a doctor, which I don't. He's like, what did he say? He's like, first I take my shirt off, and he takes his shirt off, and there he is, like looking ripped. And I say, 50 years of twisted steel and sex appeal, and if they don't look as good as me, then I don't ask him any questions. And I'm like, wow. And this guy, I mean, he's a serious guy when it comes to this advice. And so I take your empirical evidence quite seriously because how good you look.
Appreciate you, my man.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of another good-looking,
100%
ripped guy. First of all, I have the question for you is both of y'all. You can say it first. Who's fitter between y'all two?
Oh, that's
and
arguable.
then how does Trent shine in this project? Trent
outshines all of us, man. Just for the first part. Like,
this is my final question. I have 3 questions to introduce him. He also seems to be extremely likable. Like everyone tells me how much they like Trent.
Mm-hmm.
So
I know.
what makes him so likable? How does he shine in this business? And who's fitter?
I feel like if there was an Ember and Ice baby that needs to be kissed, it's like Trent. It's like everyone loves Trent in so many ways because he's so down to earth, likable, and you're just so present with everybody, man. So yeah. Just as brothers just can definitely acknowledge you there. I can't speak to why we're both fitter, but damn, you're nice and tall, bro. So I mean, got some points on me on that one. But yeah, man, I don't know. You take it away.
Yeah, as these guys have echoed, we've just been blessed as brothers, and we were friends before we were colleagues in this business. I think a lot of those aspects are shining through the business now as we reach the community with these health practices.
So who do you think's fitter?
I won't place either of one of us above the other. I think
We're gonna arm
health is
wrestle after this
unique
one.
journey, and I'm down to end the podcast with an arm wrestle.
Oh wow, this table. I'm scared of that. I'm scared of arm wrestling. I'm actually really good at arm wrestling. That's why I'm scared of it because it's dangerous, especially when you get someone your strength.
You got guns on.
I think this is what this is reminding me of, especially because I know your brother and it's like reminding me of being with the Raw Bras. And a big part of like what the Raw Bras did were definitely fitness competitions, like within ourselves, like who could do 1-arm pull up, how many 1-arm pull ups can do, who can hold a handstand longer, who can do a backflip, who can climb that rope faster. And today, my brother, he sent me a picture of himself. My phone's on TikTok Live, so I'll have to show y'all afterwards. And I've talked about this in a few of the previous podcasts, but he's been doing this thing like he tests how fast he can do 100 push-ups, 100 pull-ups, and 100 dips.
Wow.
He tests how fast he can do it.
In succession?
Yeah, it's just as fast as you can do all 100. No, like you can break it up. 10, you can
Oh,
break
okay,
fives,
okay.
10s, 20s,
I see.
whatever you want.
That's awesome.
And he did it under 15 minutes today.
Wow.
Noted.
So do y'all do stuff like this? Do y'all have like little competitions like this?
I've been doing a calisthenics challenge that is 50 pull-ups, 100 push-ups in 5 minutes.
50 pull-ups.
The 50 pull-ups.
And 100 push-ups. And you can do that?
I'm just at the brink of it, between 45 and 50 pull-ups at the end. I haven't
And how
quite
fast?
cracked
Like under
it.
5 minutes?
Under 5 minutes.
Oh, wow. That is a good
So,
one. I almost like that one better. It's a little more microdosey.
Yeah, the pump at the end of it, your blood flow, getting those last reps of pull-ups in is insane.
And do any of y'all do this together or no?
You know, I can't say I've done it like competitive. I compete with myself, you know. But I mean, I'm always here for the circuit, the good time.
Yep.
I can say that we did like 80 push-ups just the other day or something, or I was just pushing it. But like the 5-minute circuit, I don't know. We gotta come back next podcast and rock that one. So
Yeah, well, I think it's great that y'all are. It goes back to that Paul Chek theme. Like, I think most of us, if we're going to see a doctor, we would probably want to see one that's as healthy as us, or as healthy as we
100%.
inspire to be, or inspiringly healthy.
Right.
And so my question is, we can just go real quick, 30 seconds each. We'll reverse it, and then maybe I'll say my 30 seconds. But what is the healthiest aspect of the service that you're offering?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I'd say the healthiest aspect is really the genuine connection that we're achieving within the sauna and cold plunge culture. I think so many of us are disconnected from the elements and each other these days, and that's a foundation of our business that we're piercing through.
You know, we're only like 3 months in kind of the business, so to see a plant grow in this way, it's going to be hard to say what's the healthiest aspect. You could say it could be levels of the community we're forming, the cold plunge or the sauna. But I think truly we can just say that, like, being in the sauna, when you hit that heat shock and you drop out, your ability to experience more endorphins and more high and muscle recovery, I think is just in paramount. And having it wood fire just seems to be more natural, no EMFs and anything like that. So I think the sauna wins for now, for sure.
Nice.
I think there's a lot of power in what both of these gentlemen just shared. I'd say another aspect that is really profound is the nature element that we are embedding our business around. The ability to bring these saunas that are mobile to natural bodies of water outside in nature, I think is incredible. And I know people get after nature a good amount here in the Boulder area, but there's a lot of people who don't get outside as often as they'd like. And I think the sauna experience, connecting with the different elements and allowing that time for them to connect with themselves. When you're in that sauna, you're able to be present. When you're in that cold plunge, it really pulls you into the moment. And so people are able to get out of their head and just, feel like a sense of opening up and relaxing in the sauna. And I feel like that kind of conjures in this emotional opening up as well. And people are able to have good conversations. And our intentions are to be as, kind and as loving and as graceful as we can for every individual coming in, because we don't know what they're bringing. And I think that component of community, nature, and just the relaxing element of conversations and people just opening up is really precious. And I think that's a big, healthy component of what we're doing.
Awesome. I'm happy to hear all that. Let's see if I got one. Well, all right, I'll start it with like a question. If a suffering shared is a suffering halved, and a joy shared is a joy doubled, I think the sauna and the cold plunge in nature is the sweet spot where I can suffer, like slightly suffer on purpose to make myself stronger.
Yes.
With my friends. And then we get to enjoy the joy, like we get to enjoy the benefits of it. And especially if it's a sunny day and I have something like this tallow balm out, which I know I want to hear what y'all think about this, because y'all use the pineapple mango sunburn.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like you have tallow. Like I asked last time, you had tallow on your face. Do you have tallow on your face today?
Not today, but I was definitely rocking it before. We were in the sun all day, man. So we definitely I got a testament from it.
This one's a good
Not
one,
peeling, right?
Y'all look good. Yeah, y'all look like you're shined up for this podcast.
Yep.
And yeah, so I think it's like a literally and metaphorically, you've created a synergistic, like psychedelic sweat bubble.
Right.
Right next to the why I live where I live in Boulder. Is the cold, clean, pristine Boulder Creek.
Totally.
Yeah.
I would like to say, like, I think we're in the heart of Boulder in that way, and even just the cultural element of even where we're at is a historical location. So to just have access to nature, have our business surrounded by nature and community. I mean, I personally find it to just tap in is from the moment you walk up. So, I hope we can kind of keep expanding that as time goes on, but I only got positive things to say and how I feel about it. So yeah, I hope everyone else sees and feels that too.
All right, well, real quickly, so I just in case people are just like, yeah, I want to go, and where do they go? I'll ask you, Trey.
Yeah, so
make sure that's
we're
clear, nice
live
and
on
clear.
Instagram. Instagram is at Ember_N_ice. We're posting every week there some of our updates and announcements of new locations we're popping up at. And you can also go to our website, which is embernice.com.
Y'all made it pretty easy with the membership and reserving spots and seeing how many spots are available and everything. It's really nice. Really nice. Ember nice.
Yeah.
All right. So what I want to do here is, what I would like to do is, I'm going to give it to you real quick and just ask any of us a breaking normal question. A breaking normal question that might be beneficial for all of us to consider. Just one of us.
Okay.
And then same thing, you're on that little pretend 30-second or so window.
All right. So I'm asking a question to one of us here.
Yep.
All right. I'll ask Daniel a question.
Okay.
Question is, what is your why or your intention behind breaking normal, and why is that significant to you?
Okay. All right. That's a good question. Thank you. All right. Really, I'll just give the story of how it really set it in my nervous system. I was at Emerald Lake in South Lake Tahoe. Have y'all been there by any chance? Epic spot. Very good. Good to go. Especially if with certain supplements. And I remember being there, and there's this pretty steep hike that like a lot of people go on. A lot. It's like very crowded. It's like very paved and quite easy. And it's like all these rules because you like walk by all these little waterfalls.
Okay.
And I'm like, that waterfall, that waterfall. Like that's what I'm thinking. But like everyone else is just like walking with their heads down, following the ropes.
Sure.
And the signs. And then you get down to Emerald Cove down there, and it's like this crazy like Scandinavian castle because I guess the Vikings started like a tea house like on this little island that you can see. That's like the last place for the sun to set on Lake Tahoe.
Oh wow!
This is just like you can just I'm like starting. I'm like, okay, I get what was going on. Like I can feel what these people were doing here. And I am so like just confused by the crowd. The crowd is just like, there is just like epic waterfalls, like waterfalls everywhere. Wow. And like in all these hidden little swim spots, and then the huge ass Lake Tahoe, which is kind of cold.
Right.
Not as cold as Boulder. I mean, at that time when I was there, it was probably like mid-50s, I guess. And there was this like little river that goes into the lake, and that's like where a lot of the waterfalls. That's why all these waterfalls are up here. So there's a little like in a canyon that you have to go off the beaten path to find. Nice. But the river goes into the lake there, and it just like all makes sense to me. I'm like, yeah, of course you would create a castle here for your like tea house, a nice morning swim away. And I realized that river, no one was going across the river. No one, and it was not a big river. It was not at all. It was very easy, but you would have to get wet and cold for a moment. It was pretty sunny outside, so sure enough, I'm like, I'm good. I'm just like going crazy. I'm like, I feel like Curious George out there, like wow, this is amazing. And I was committed to the day of exploring. So I just got right across the river. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like the very best part of this whole thing. Like this is and I just kept looking at everyone. I think I carried like my daughter across or something, nice. And I was like telling someone else to come with me, and I realized everyone was just looking at me like I'm some maniac. And I was realizing, wow, okay, so like 99% of the people are not going to see the best percent of this place,
right?
Because this little thing of like getting wet and cold,
right.
And because it's what the herd was doing, everyone else was doing.
True.
And that day just really downloaded in my nervous system, like what that like breaking normal meant to me. It's like, wow. I am not addicted to fitting in. I am, if anything, I want to be addicted to like my authentic self. And that meant like breaking the addiction to approval. A lot of times it constantly means breaking the addiction to approval.
Sure.
Like the last interview, I had an amazing doctor, and here I walked in. He was like, "You been working out?" And I'm like, "No, I was just making tallow." And I'm thinking like, I just want to show my body off. What's wrong with that? Yeah. Like I don't know if I said that from that moment, but I'm just like, yeah, this is abnormal for him. And so it just like shows up every day in some way.
Sure.
The opportunity to do like what's most authentic to me, and not to do it because how I appear to someone else.
Amen.
Yeah, and then I just kept writing. Like, it's just a constant theme, philosophy. Wow. I thought it was a catchy name.
Yeah.
I think I thought Breaking Bad was the best TV show I've ever seen.
Nice.
So I was like, Breaking Normal. That's what I want to do.
Right on.
Yeah.
Love it.
Thank you. That's a beautiful story.
And a lot of people resonate with it. Like when I told people like the name, they're like, I'm breaking. They would say, I'm Breaking Normal. I'm like, you are Breaking Normal. And I'm like, I think that's why I like you so much. Yeah, good question. Wow. All right, so I'll go.
One question on that. You think we can get a trailer back there?
A trailer back where?
In Emerald Lake.
Oh yeah, I bet you could. I bet you could.
Okay.
That's a good question.
Yeah, because they definitely have it where it's paved. It's steep. Have you all ever been to Black's Beach in San Diego? Similar. So, it's a similar type of hike. It's probably like a 1.5 mile steep grade down. And on the way up, I got so lit, and we were just going into every waterfall.
Nice.
I was just like, I'm done with normal. And I feel so good, and everyone else is so hot. They were all so hot and panting. Because
Right.
and like there's a freaking waterfall every 200 meters. You just like get in it, and you are so lit that this hill is nothing. It's like a joy.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Love it, man.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So my question to you, Trent, is how do you? Because last time we were talking. You were telling me a bit about your relationship with Jesus, and I was like, oh wow, because earlier you were talking about like Pele, and I was like, oh wow. So I'm definitely intrigued by the not. It doesn't seem like there's a issue with maybe bubbles of lots of different beliefs coming into each other. So I'm just like wondering how do you, what's your relationship with God? Where's that at, and where do you see how does that fit in collectively with Ember and Ice?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's faith in our belief systems. And I've had many seeds planted throughout my life with both Jesus Christ and other deities and spirits that have encapsulated that belief system. And part of that is breaking normal through psilocybin. And on the other side of that, there's also the more sobering natural experience that you might get in a sauna or cold plunging. And driving force for me is to share that mission of sobriety and a natural state of living and being healthy through our Ember and Ice services.
Awesome. And do y'all have collective relationships about God? I mean, this could probably be a 10-hour conversation for each person.
right.
Just how wowould you summarize that? Is that a thing y'all talk about? Is it ever an issue? Is it ever a connecting thing? Is it curious? What's that like?
Yeah,
Because business partners, they could be like wives.
Right.
definitely.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a
We're
big
bonding closer every day, and I think it's important to visit those subjects as a team and as brothers. And God, to me, is a very general term. It could mean many things. And Devin's a person that has brought me closer to Jesus Christ in my life, as well as Dylan Suggs. And through some of those stepping stones of my belief systems over the years, we have brought up as a team how God has divinely paved this path for us to really bring this business to the greater community. And so we as a team say we give glory to God for bringing this business into fruition, because we think it's greater than ourselves.
awesome.
Amen.
Amen. It reminds me too that first of all, we're like, maybe you know the verse where two or more are gathered. Do you know that
I am
verse?
there.
I am there. Is that
I believe so.
I believe. Yeah. I mean, there's a real church element to what y'all are doing as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, and like church in a way that feels real to me, like where two or more gathered.
Right.
All right, and by the way, I have podcasts done with Forrest and Dylan, so check those episodes out. A lot, the one with both of them I've heard a lot of feedback on.
Cool.
Yeah, y'all have a great team.
Thank you.
All right, Trent, where were you? Going to ask a question now to someone? Yeah, that's right.
Happy to go around the circle. Question for Ricky of Breaking Normal. Ricky, I see as the epitome of being authentically himself as he shows up in the world. And I've heard Ricky throughout this business orchestrate how the stars and his background in astrology has attributed to how this path has divinely unfolded for us. So my question to Ricky is, how would you relate our guys' trip of 6 members of our team in August attribute to the fruition of this business?
Such a good question. I wish we had 2 hours to answer that. But no, I also appreciate the acknowledgement in that, man. As I was listening to Daniel, I just really felt the relatability with that on Breaking Normal, where like my own genesis of I'm first gen American, my religious background. People think I'm not connected to other religions such as Jesus, Buddha, and such, and quite the contrary. I'm more like a pantheist kind of ideology. But when you can look at a lens from a macro, it's kind of I guess to make it really simple for people, it's kind of like where are you at in the video game that those levels are connected to other levels? And so when we went on our trip, I didn't think it would fruition in this way, but it's really cool to look at timelines. For those that don't know, there's going to be a blood moon solar eclipse, lunar eclipse in 3 days. Not that that means anything, but but it's cool to see us and our skill sets and how they just kind of like mended together and got formulated. I had one of the best trips that Seattle, just from all our skill sets, personalities. We were in a van and like laughing the whole nine. I literally it was just so great as a family community. But in Breaking Normal, man, I mean, I really connect with that a long time. I feel like I'm a unicorn as a freaking soul, as you will. Like I just, I've learned to live with that and connected with like Daniel's Breaking Normal. I feel so much love and deepness in my heart for what we experience on a spiritual level. So that's with me. And although I'm open to sharing, when it comes to our business and the genesis of that, it's really cool to just see how the timeline is played out. Like, man, this goes a little deep, but I see how it affects Trent's life and in the stars just from like, satellite view. And it's really beautiful to see the harmonization, how it affects everyone very differently. So I would say intervention with God is undeniable, like undeniable. You are not controlled, you have free will, but it just seems that our business, it's really cool. I mean, the timeline of beginning in 2025 and some of the serendipitous moments that have taken place, I mean, it just makes me smile. It's not like I used to maybe 2-3 years ago be like, what? Like this is working in our favor. But I think when you hold your integrity to a certain line, God opens doors. The universe has its gateways for us. And so it's just really cool to see the development of every single person kind of come around in different ways for each one of us. So just know that my eyes are on that, and that's deeply fulfilling. And so the question is prompted very tenderly in how I view our whole life. So thanks for the question, man. God bless. Yeah. I hope that answers that. Yeah.
Great.
You still have a question to ask, right?
I do.
Quickly. I forget what that warning meant. What does that warning mean?
40.
So we got 20 more minutes. All right. All right, yeah, go ahead. Please.
Right. I guess my question prompt to Daniel, I guess, is how many environments do you get to be in part of where you're with community and have a healthy space to do challenging things?
How often do I?
Yeah, or how many sections of life?
Okay,
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, that's a good question. All right, so I would say, let me just think about my day to day. I went to the gym today to Crunch Fitness, and there was this guy. He was quite awkward. I was like almost impressed how awkward this person was. And I kept like, "Are you talking to me?" Because every time I put my headphones back on, he would start talking. I'm like, "Is he talking?" And when he started asking me like, "How long have I been doing dips for?"
Okay.
And I was like, "A long time." and I think, long story short, he was fumbling around to ask me if I could help him do dips.
I see.
Yeah. And I realized that's what he was asking me. And I was like, "Oh, okay. I've done dips a lot. I've done a lot of dips. Let me watch you do your dips. And then I'll tell you what I think if I have any ideas of feedback."
Uh-huh.
And so we did that. And so I did that there. That's one sector of that.
Right.
Like just because I didn't go to the gym with someone doesn't mean there's not a community around me.
Totally.
So there was that. Pushing myself. When I walk with my daughter, we walk to school or we'll catch a line and like try to go up these hills together on the same scooter.
Okay.
And she's like running and skipping and be way behind me. And like sometimes we're starting jogging together. So like we're kind of pushing each other on the walk every day. And I'm a huge believer. Like my brothers and I used to have a thing called The Walk in Encinitas where we lived. And we would just walk the beach, like the sunset, the road, Neptune Avenue. I don't know if any of y'all have ever been there. It's amazing. It's where my daughter was born.
Wow.
And I would walk with my daughter in the stroller, and we would just walk and talk. and do some sun gazing. Some of us would. And that would always, and it was a lot of, we would challenge each other not only because we were walking sometimes fast or sometimes slower. Sometimes it's challenging to walk slow with a group.
Totally.
And so I do that with my daughter pretty much every day, especially now that I don't have a car in Boulder. I've been wondering about the perks of this carless life. And even that, like I remember walking with someone today. It didn't seem like we wanted to walk together, so I started walking faster than him. So like there's a little element of that there.
Totally.
And then like I did like the sauna, for instance, this Sunday. The sauna and creek, and like purposely meeting up with a group of people to do that together.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a pretty gold standard of that.
Right.
And a lot of times, like if y'all ever want to do it, and especially since y'all are down that area, I have these like a 70-pound kettlebell and a 76-pound kettlebell, and I'll walk them to M&G Fine Park, and we can like take turns walking them.
Right on.
And then do pull-ups, push-ups, kettlebell swings, jump in the creek, and then walk them back. And then I have to get back in the creek again because once you walk them back, it's not easy.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how many, but I like that question. I like thinking of that. Maybe maybe it's everywhere.
Right.
If I open my eyes to it a little bit.
Right. Yeah, and if I may share, just the prompt of the question is what's illuminated me from our business, and just seeing like how many times is someone involved in you're with community and there's a healthy space to like break through new boundaries or new awakening. So I really appreciate kind of the detail orientation of how you kind of see that. So
yeah, like and I definitely had that a lot for a decade in my life with my brothers and the retreats. We did a lot of like competition is cooperation type of events and experiences. And sometimes not. Like I don't think like trying to see who can stay in the cold water longest. I think it's a dumb competition.
Yeah.
But it could be good if it's like two people just doing like a minute for the first time each. There's a lot of subtleties to that, pushing each other. Like today I was not trying to compete with that guy at all.
Right.
At the dip thing.
Right.
I thought it was really nice that he asked me that. It was just weird, and it was a little edgy for me because I'm like, I could have been like a little in a rush and impatient. I'm like, just tell me what you're trying to tell me here.
Right.
But no, I wasn't. I was just like, I want to help this guy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Totally.
All right. So since we're probably getting, this is time's flying here. What I think what we're talking a lot about is like bringing more like inner joy or like our energy, through certain communal practices like the sauna,
Right.
Embernice.com. And I'm just curious, like this personal question for all of us. What has like brought the deepest joy to your life? And how did that happen? Do you think there was a way that you could explain how you cultivated the deepest joy of your life? Anybody want to go first? And we got a minute each. General. Whole life.
And you're speaking secularly for every single person, or just as a business?
No, each individual.
Got it.
Okay.
One individual. And how maybe you think someone that might be able to relate, or they remember that. Like, how did you cultivate it? I don't need you to tell people how to cultivate it. How did you cultivate it?
I've got one that comes to mind.
Okay.
It's more like an individual experience, and then I've got one that brought me a sense of joy from like a collective experience. The individual one was when I had first laid eyes on my now girlfriend, future wife, Taylor. And just during that initial part of us getting to know each other, because she was like the third girl I've ever slept with in my life, and was single and abstinent for like about 7 years before meeting her, and was really, preserving that sacred sexuality, if you will. And man, I had also like was being teased by like my family that, nothing against gay people, but my mom was asking me, am I gay? I'm like, no, I'm just, taking my time looking for the girl. And I would get a whisper from like God that the girl is in Colorado. And so this is back when I was living in Texas. And so eventually when I moved out here, it was less than a couple months that I had met Taylor. And our journey has been quite a roller coaster. We can dive into that some other time. But the amount of joy and fulfillment and just how much we share in common with each other. It's so beautiful and incredible. And it's just brought me so much inner peace and inner joy and a lot of gratitude and thankfulness for the love that we cherish and that we have. It's really sacred and beautiful. So that's on an individual inner joy with love. And then I think growing up in terms of like feeling joy, I'm really grateful for my father to have positioned my brother and I in a way where growing up, he had always been encouraging us to be involved with community, whether it was sports or even like the way our home was designed. We were walking distance from our elementary, middle, and our high school. And so friends were constantly coming over all throughout my years. In the middle school and high school, we had a cool travel trailer that could like fit 12 people in there. And every 3-day holiday, he was always inviting me to bring friends to go to different state parks or go hang out at the river or wherever. And I just give a lot of gratitude to my father for planting those seeds of nature and community, and that sense of joy and peace and recognition there is just overwhelming. And I'm very, very thankful for that. And so that has probably brought me the most joy is that component of community with my father, and then of course with my lover Taylor.
Wow, 12th person?
Yeah.
Is it that? Was that the size of the sauna that I was in yesterday?
Yeah, it was.
Seed planted. Yeah, have you ever thought about that?
No, just connecting some dots right now.
Wow. Okay, cool. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Love it.
Happy to take the mic. Thank you for sharing that beautiful story, Devin. I'd say something that really set the foundation for my inner fulfillment, my values, and what I aspired to do with my life was a trip I took with my parents when I was 9 years old. And I was very fortunate to go on this trip onto a tall ship, a sailboat, 120 feet long. And we were, say, one of 5 groups of 2 to 4 on the ship, so it was mostly empty. And so we really had this private experience that took us from Guadeloupe in the Caribbean down some of the Caribbean islands. And the memory that sticks out to me the most is when we stopped in Dominica in the Caribbean, and we got on a lifeboat, took that into the coastline of Dominica, and then did a waterfall hike and swam under this waterfall. And it's one of the times I felt most connected to a tribe on that ship, with the elements and nature, cold plunging under this waterfall, and a long-lasting memory with my family. So from there, that's really set those values and aspirations for me in life to relive experiences like that.
Wow. How old were you?
9.
Wow. That's
Love it,
epic.
bro.
That is epic. I actually want to get the coordinates of that waterfall. Wow.
Need that pin drop, bro.
Got those in Google Maps.
That's beautiful. Love hearing that. For myself, if to answer the question, it's funny. I mean, it kind of comes back around to several things we've shared. I have a kind of a very confusing, very mystifying upbringing in ways of how I even became an American, and kind of my own background with astrology or stuff. And so for me, I would say one of the deepest fulfillments is where I'm really fond of how we live in a society that isn't really concerned about intimacy, or like how they really can connect and understand people. Even this conversation, or how you would meet someone, you might get 2% of a person. I mean, it's laughable to meet some of my best friends and there's, oh, you didn't know you did this in high school? Or you didn't know you did that? Like, there's so much to uncover in a person. So for me, I feel like in the field of my work was like deepening the intimacy with myself and who I am. And to now have a skill set or stumbled upon something out of the discomfort, I find, or pride myself that I find that I can really deeply connect with people in such a way. And so if it even is in the little moments of like, hey, I'm really helping someone be nurtured in their own sense of self, I truly say this, like, it's deeply fulfilling. Like, I have an endless amount of energy towards that. So there's no like specific experience for me. It's the compiled journey into how to like connect with someone and unlock it. So like, you know, you can meet someone, see their star chart and understand what happened to them at 12 and find this whole correspondence. I'm not going to nerd on that on this podcast, but that's deeply fulfilling. Like, you know, to find that you can connect with someone in a way that they don't even know for themselves. So yeah. So I appreciate the question. So yeah, man. Yeah, that's kind of a
Awesome.
slice from mine.
Awesome. All right. Well, I've been reflecting, like each thing y'all said, like reminded me, because I wasn't sure what I was giving an answer, and I'm still not sure. But I definitely, I think this is what's coming to me, and it's probably also influenced by what we've been talking about, is my relationship with Jesus, Yeshua, and manifesting with my like peak experiences with my daughter,
Wow.
with my girlfriend, and with my family. And it's more, it's like why I think the relationship with Jesus is such an integral part is because how often I pray for those relationships, and when I'm constantly seeing, constantly experiencing what I prayed for, but in an upgraded way, like in a way that I could have never thought to exactly pray for,
Right.
and just getting that like that relationship with Jesus through the ones I love, and just like how it's a constant. It's just like a back and forth like conversation with God, and shows up in this video game with the people that I would do anything for. When that shows up, and like I'm like, wow, like this is better than what I prayed for, and I had never planned this. I could have never done this. So just feeling like it's a bit out of my control, but that God is with me. And so like when it manifests like on a trip with my daughter, I think of a trip with my daughter and girlfriend in Sweden, like on this little white sand beach out of nowhere. So I can like relate to that part for sure. Relate to the part about the relationships. And all the things that can happen that are unexpectedly better than I could have even thought for. Especially when I surrender to that highest force. I think that it made much sense, but it was fun to explore out loud.
That was beautiful.
Love it, man.
What time are we at? Anybody know?
Yeah,
250.
250. All right. So did we make it clear? Like, where are y'all located for the locals, and where are y'all going to be located? Is there a big vision, bigger than Beyond Boulder? Anybody want to take that one?
Yeah, I'd say Ember and Ice is just getting started. We have 4 pillars of our business. One is our stationary business that has a trailer partnered with businesses by natural bodies of water, which we are beginning to open up to the public here these first 2 months within Boulder, Nederland, and Lyons. And then 3 other pillars of our business are popping up at events and festivals going forward to this summer, which our lead event coordinator, Ricky, is facilitating and has some exciting announcements coming up. We also have
call it like an event. Like you're going to be announcing events you're going to be at?
Correct.
I'm excited to hear those announcements. I just want to follow that for sure. That's
thank
exciting.
you for specifying.
Yeah.
And so the events and festivals is the second pillar. The third pillar is our private bookings. So we'll actually take one of our barrel saunas to use. Someone rented our sauna over the weekend for their birthday party. They had a DJ at their property, and were able to have a cold plunging sauna experience at their mountain property for much cheaper than if they were to buy that and put that on their own land. And then the last pillar is pop-ups with businesses across the community. Places like climbing gyms, CrossFit gyms don't typically have saunas within their facilities. And there's so many athletes and people that can take advantage of our services there. So naming all 4 of those, we're just starting with our stationary pop-ups throughout Boulder, but the vision is really strong, and we'd love to expand throughout Colorado and more natural bodies of water and beyond that.
I'm stoked for y'all. Stoked. I was just thinking how y'all should pull up the the bubble to the pickleball courts.
Heck yeah.
Like a sunny
yeah.
pickleball days, if you had like a little, as a pop-up event, like in South Boulder, I could see that working pretty well. Or the disc golf course, like when everyone's out there one day.
Totally.
Mhm.
I don't know all the legality of that, but I'm sure that's all fun to figure out.
Oh, yeah.
Are y'all gonna arm wrestle? Who's gonna arm wrestle? Y'all too?
Oh yeah.
Do y'all, were y'all,
You trying to do that?
were y'all sincere about that?
First one on the
I'll
podcast. Let's
witness
go.
it. I'll witness an arm
Let's
wrestling
go.
match.
Use this table.
We could put like a towel down.
Right.
We could if y'all want to. I'm just throwing that out there. It's up to y'all.
Next podcast.
Next
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Next episode, let's go.
Maybe at the sauna. Maybe we can start.
At the sauna.
See, I'm scared to do
We'll get the
an arm
tiki-
wrestling match because of the repercussions potentially.
Right.
The
Sure.
soreness right here, or
We'll
the
get the
biceps.
tiki torches out and all that. Yeah.
But I think it's good arm wrestling. I think it's like about keeping. I think almost all power comes from keeping your elbow to your hip.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well,
all
side thing.
strategy.
Like,
Good to know.
I'm talking
Yeah.
like almost
Got
every
some
sport.
strategy.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to play hockey, but I know it's hockey. I know it's tennis. I know it's pickleball. I know it's baseball. I know it's punching. I know it's arm wrestling. I know it's doing a one-arm pull-up. It's like keeping this engaged in there.
Uh-huh.
Maybe we'll start arm
He's
wrestling
giving us
league.
tips.
I saw a video of a man training for an arm wrestling competition the other day.
Oh my
All
God.
the crazy forearm workouts that he does.
Wow.
He has like over 100 different movements he uses, and it's really expanded my mind on how you train for arm wrestling.
All right, I got the final question, and then we'll let you all go.
Hmm.
Best book and song.
Ooh.
I know it might be impossible to choose
Man.
one, but if you just have to choose one right now, best book and song.
That's funny. We were talking about that.
All right, let's just throw it in there. Just make a snap judgment and movie. Best book, song, and movie.
I mean, I shared
Oh,
that. It was
goodness.
funny enough. I asked Trent this literally last morning.
Really?
And there's a lot of books I could think of, but the one that just came up to mind that was most apparent is The Meditations by Marcus Aurelius.
Okay.
And if you guys aren't familiar, it's Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Roman emperors of all time. Basically had a scribe of these, they're called the Meditations, but there's like books of wisdom. If you listen to one chapter and go sit and meditate on any of those proverbs, it's like the most humble, powerful person in the world that just distills things. I would say it for any leader, coming of age for any man and anyone, any CEO, just know how to like use power in the most discerning and beautiful of ways. So it's like a philosophy book and maybe a user guide to just how to own your own power. So yeah, just, I mean, there's lots of books I could go down the list on, but if I had to pick one, yeah.
Okay. Movie or song? We gotta go popcorn style here. It's about to be 3:00.
Book for me is Waking Up by Sam Harris, neuroscientist and philosopher that got me into meditation and exploring consciousness.
Nice.
Mm.
Song or movie too. Don't forget.
Yeah. I'm gonna be a little old school and just throw the B for the Bible.
Okay.
Book. That's just a classic.
Mm-hmm.
And then I gotta think of those other ones real quick right now.
All right,
You said
I can
song,
go.
you gotta give us
If
genres.
I'm not gonna say Bible is almost like a whole different thing. So I'm just thinking. I'll say the Tao Te Ching.
Okay.
Oh,
Ching.
good pick.
Let's just say that.
Good
And that
pick.
could be a whole different thing too. So I'm
Sure.
not sure if it's fair to call it a book. Either one to call it a book, but they are definitely Tao Te Ching. Let me just go Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
I love it.
And let me just go Shawshank Redemption.
Dang.
Shawshank Redemption. Love it.
I mean, I don't know if I would stand by any of those, but I just wanted to give an answer real quick. I
Definitely.
want to leave people with something, a song, book, and a movie to think about.
Mm-hmm. Say One Love by Bob Marley.
See, I'm like, that might have been a better choice, but
Comes to the mind the quickest.
I'm such a musician, Bluff, so I like to pick any genre, language. So to pick one is difficult, and yeah,
Mhm.
I'm just give me a genre. Yeah.
rap.
Oh, rap. Oh, I just saw Lose Yourself, Eminem, the first one. But then I also think of Kendrick. Kendrick's just phenomenal.
Any song in particular?
I don't know what's it called. You're gonna laugh.
I'm curious. Kendrick and Eminem
What's it-
definitely hit me hard
So,
when I'm
yeah,
working out.
bitch,
Oh yeah.
Kill my vibe.
No. It's got the van in it. It's
Bitch,
just
don't kill my vibe or something.
Yeah.
Is that what you just said?
And I was thinking
Is that
classical
what it's
music for
called?
a song to pick, by the way.
Isn't that
I was
what
thinking
it's
like
called?
Beethoven's Fifth or something.
That's what
Like,
it's called.
Yeah. I love. Yeah, who works out to what kind of music y'all work out to, or do y'all work out to music?
I'm a
Yeah.
super metalhead at the gym, so. But then I'll listen to Vivaldi.
I listen to the Ed Millette podcast, rap,
nice.
and Afro music.
Yeah.
Those are my three.
Definitely.
Same here. I've been really hooked on a guy named Forrest Frank more recently.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
more of like a Christian rapper and just just a unique artist, to be honest. And so my song would be he's got a song called Altar by Forrest Frank. It hits for me.
Y'all heard Ultra Light Beam from Kanye West? What?
No.
That's one of my favorite with Chance the Rapper. And, I mean,
Sure.
I'm thinking all
I'm
my
going to
favorite
jam it in the
songs.
car when we leave. Yeah.
Ultra Light Beam, for sure.
Okay.
Anyone else want to say anything else before we say to be continued off the air?
Just super grateful for you giving our business a voice. And for anyone listening in Boulder, we'd love to hook you guys up with your first free session. So please reach out to us on our website or contact us individually and follow the 3 other members on our team that aren't here. They're phenomenal people.
And stoked for Let's Do Podcast. I don't know if you even see this in the shot, but the studio Novell,
fire.
who's hosting us. Also a Breaking Normal startup. I don't know who started up first, but y'all probably around the same time actually.
Nice.
So it's a cool synergistic collaboration. Oh yeah, anything y'all want to say about that tallow balm? I got I think the pina colada one and the white chocolate, like maybe an empty jar right there.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. You want to go, Trent?
It's hard to say which one's better. These all smell phenomenal and they feel even better on your skin. So if you're trying to look 10 years younger, I'd highly recommend you check out Try Vitamin.
Real talk, I don't know what Daniel is putting in these things, but this is the most fire stuff. I personally am a fan of the white chocolate. It's just fresh. It makes me feel like I'm a dessert. And I was putting it, I am, dude, after this one for sure. And so with this kind of on the skin, we were getting sunbaked, but honestly, it kept the moisturize in the skin. I literally felt like I was getting rotisserie cooked spice. So like, I just gotta say, dude, fire product, epic. Yeah,
I think it's super special after the sauna.
perfect after the
I
sun.
love that. I love putting that, especially on a sunny day. Love what y'all are doing. Much
Yeah.
love to y'all.
Thank you.
One love.
Absolutely.
Keep breaking normal.
I'd like to throw in what I'm particularly excited to use this tallow for in the future. I was reading what you could use it for. And I think one of the things was like sexy time.
Or yeah, all right. I have some tips and ideas on that. I definitely think, like, for instance,
Here we
if
go.
you're gonna be like naked in the sun,
Sure.
definitely just put that all over.
Okay.
And obviously, yeah, both parties.
Nice.
It's not extremely like liquid, especially at colder temperatures.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but you can get crafty with it. I'll be curious to know what you find out.
It's
And
like
we
a
could
shea
even make
butter.
a more liquid version. Like, one of the ingredients we cut that with, cut it is like maybe not the right word, but we make it soften it with, is the organic emu oil. We put a little organic emu oil in that.
Yep.
And I'm starting to wonder if that might be the best lubricant in the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Noted.
It's almost like a hybrid of
Probably.
tallow and coconut oil.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyways, that's a good. I'm excited about that element of it as well. There's a lot of things. I think like nipple cream for mothers, preventing stretch marks.
Oh, well, yeah.
I've heard about it for psoriasis, eczema, and rosacea. I definitely think it helps me absorb the sun better and like burn less, just like what tallow does on a pan.
Right on.
It's like it does it to my skin too.
Heck yeah.
And I think the smell element might be a little undermined.
Your scents are fire. I'm not even just telling you that because we know you. Those are the best scents I've heard on or like anything in Sprouts. Don't get. I'm
wondering,
serious.
like even like
I'm
the white
serious.
chocolate is like rather than cologne. Should I market
yeah.
it? Because I'm like, but most women
Yeah.
like, wow, you smell like ice cream. I'm like, I think that's a compliment.
Yeah.
No, that's more than a compliment. That's more than a compliment. And the pina colada, like I argue, like I mean, yeah, I'm more of essential oil person over cologne at this point in my life, but no, like particularly, I would buy those scents just on their own.
Yeah, I don't use cologne either, but that's what I'm thinking. Like
Yeah.
maybe I should start targeting that market. Anyways, we'll keep on
Yeah.
talking in the sauna.
Totally.
Yes.
Keep breaking normal, y'all. Ember and Ice. Thank you, Yvel.
Thank you.
Love it.